Good afternoon, this is Nicholas from Gandora Gaming, and this is my discussion video on if Floowanderezs will be the new Kashtira of the upcoming format. So, in some ways, I want to say yes, in other ways, no. And that's what this whole discussion video is on today, on if Floowanderezs will live up to the hype. This deck has a lot of hype going on right now. I think a lot of people are rating this deck as literally top 10 strongest decks in the format. And even in their top 5, Floowanderezs is here now. It is the brand new Kashtira. It is the macro cosmos archetype of the format. And yeah, let's discuss this. So, personally, where would I rate Floowanderezs in the format? Now, personally, I honestly think it's 10, if not even in the top 10. Floowanderezs is a very bricky strategy. As much as I want to say, yes, Rabina is a one-card combo, and Eaglin or any of the little guys that ain't Rabina plus Field Spell is also a full combo, or any of the little guys plus the Quick Play spell is full combo, and not to mention Prosperity exists, so you can search out any little guy. The issue is this deck is very interruptible. Floowanderezs, if you stock their normal summon, you kind of just win the game. And yes, this deck does some really annoying things. It can set up a N-Pen, who is a very powerful floodgate monster. The deck can play on your turn, allowing you to get multiple searches, allowing you to summon out cards like the Storm Monarch, or summon out cards like the Mist Valley Apex Thunderbird. But ultimately, I just don't feel like this deck is top 5, nonetheless top 10 material. I really don't think it is. The simple fact of the matter is that Floowanderezs is a very powerful deck when you don't really know how to deal with it. But there's so many side deck cards that hate on this deck, it's ridiculous. For one, Floowanderezs as an archetype can't go second to save its life. It has to play like Dark Ruler No More, Forbidden Droplet. It has to play like all these like really powerful spells to just try to go second. And even then, any hand traps kind of turn off their entire game plan. And don't get me started on Ash Blossom, Droll, and Lockbird. These cards can completely end a Floowanderer player's turn, and it is not that great. Now, don't get me wrong, Shifter is a really good card, so it does counter Droll, because you can't Droll someone if you have already shifted them. But at the same time, you can also brick on these Shifter. A lot of times when I first started playing Floowanderezs, even with Prosperity at 3, even with the Quick Play spells, and Rabina, and Terraforming, and everything they can search with it, you can still end on a hand of like double Shifter, M-Pen, Eaglin, and then like Field Spell, and if the Field Spell gets negated, you just lose. And that kind of happens. It happens a lot. You can end on a hand even with like 2 Rabinas. It's like, okay, as long as this Rabina resolves, I'm fine. Normal summon Rabina and try to activate its effect. Oh shit, he ashed me. Well, I guess I lose now. Don't get me wrong, it's not always like this. Floowanderezs can definitely make boards. I can definitely play around cards like Ash and Droll, but at the same time, it can't. Like, yeah, if D-Shifter didn't exist, it has no game plan against Droll besides cross out designating it or call by engraving it. I really just feel like this deck is like Diet Coke version of Kashtira, which is funny because this deck is actually older than Kashtira. I just feel like Floowanderezs doesn't have the support needed to ultimately compete at the same level as Kashtira. Kashtira had just strong monsters in general. Yes, a Rise Heart was a powerful floodgate monster. That was also a Trident. But Kashtira also has Fenrir, which is a banish. They have Unicorn, which is an extra deck rip. They have Big Bang Shock, which ultimately is like a board wipe for banishing. Also, Kashtira has access to the rank 7 pile with cards like Big Eye and the Red Eyes monsters, and a whole bunch of other really powerful cards. Even the Phantom Mecha Beast token spawner. But Floowanderezs doesn't really have that. They have no access to the extra deck. Yes, they have cards like Harpy's Feather Storm and, like I said, Shifter. But these cards are very far in between when it comes to like playability and they're not in archetype cards. You have the prosperity or just draw into these cards, which is not a great place you want to be in. And again, as much as I want to say Floowanderezs is really, really good going first, it is terrible going second. Kashtira is arguably better going second than it is going first, because so many people are prepared to break a Kashtira board that honestly Kashtira going second might have been a better option, because all their monsters are paper tops. So honestly, they actually had a really, really powerful way to go into a going second board. Unlike Floowanderezs, where you stop their normal summon, they just cry about it. But that's really it all about this video. That was my discussion video on Floowanderezs versus Kashtira on will Floowanderezs replace Kashtira, and I will say yes, in the form of this is the new Macrocosmos deck to beat. This deck will definitely be using Shifter, be using these cards very effectively, and definitely be stealing games from your locals and maybe even regional levels. But do I think it's going to completely replace Kashtira in the fact that it is now on the same par as that deck was in the previous format? Absolutely not. I feel like this deck is 10th deck at best, and even then, it is arguably not even in the top 10 best decks of this format. I'll probably do a top 10 video sometime in the future after the ban list resolves and we have some more information regarding the ban list. Like how the format's going to shape up, if Terra Elements or is going to shape up the format, or if one of the older archetypes like Drytron or things like that are going to come back. We'll just have to see. But that's all I have for this one. I hope you all enjoy. Don't do anything stupid. I'll see you all next one. Bye-bye.